In the IEBC, of course, various stakeholders as well are weighing in as preparations for the 17th October elections continue. I'm now joined by the Secretary General, the Jubilee Party, Raphael Tuju, to hear first his thoughts, Ben, regarding this latest developments, what we're witnessing, that infighting within the electoral body. And sir, thank you so much for making time for KTN News. This is worrying for most Kenyans as they watch this infighting so close to a fresh poll. What are your thoughts?
Well, definitely IEBC was the most indicted. Actually, it's the only organization which was indicted by the Supreme Court. The president and the opposition did not bear any blame for any mess which may have happened in the electoral process. So IEBC has to take responsibility for some of those mistakes, if not actually all of those mistakes, because it was their responsibility to midwife this process. And of course, as an institution and with all the problems they've had in the past, it is definitely traumatized. How they'll get out of this, we don't know. We have not raised this with them. We had opportunity to meet with them this afternoon. They have said that we should be able to meet them next week on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll take that opportunity to put this on the table. But of course, it is of concern for us because there are 39 days before the next elections, and they should not be as discordant as they sound at the moment.
As they sound at the moment. You were there earlier, as you mentioned. What did you discuss with the commissioners?
We obeyed their call for us to attend a meeting with them. It was very important that we did that because as the referee, if the referee summons you, you go. However, we did put to them very politely that we don't agree with the concept of us meeting with them alone and then NASA meeting with them alone. I think we don't have too much time for back and forth. So we did make a very firm proposal that any engagement with IEBC, whether it is ODM or NASA or it is Jubilee side, should be open. It should involve both stakeholders, and whatever is on the table, whatever is on the agenda, should be something that we are all party to.
Right.
Because we're in an era where there's a lot of mutual suspicion, and it is important that we operate on a platform of honesty, on a platform of transparency.
Let's go back to that leaked memo from the chair, IEBC, to the CEO. Raila Odinga, NASA leader, says it vindicates the issues they successfully raised at the Supreme Court. Your thoughts?
The key word is leaked. And anything which is leaked before we know the authenticity of it, I would not be so fast to start commenting on it.
It has the stamps of the IEBC. The chair has not disowned it. We've had commissioners, some of them disown it, but he hasn't.
I would like to hear what the chairman has to say about it.
In the event it turns out to be the case?
Hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
I would not be able to answer that.
All right. You have, as a party, said their staffers, members of IEBC staff, would not want to participate in the fresh election. What are the specific issues you have with these individuals?
Well, the first thing that we didn't want to leak whatever names there were. We did this in confidence so that then the IEBC should look at those specific staff. And those were just a few. I think any staff, any returning officer who did not sign, any returning officer who did not use the right forms, any returning officer who did anything that undermined the credibility of this process, the first people who are hurt in this process is our side. It is President Uhuru Kenyatta. You can liken this to a situation in, say, for example, in football. Somebody hits you in a way that you fall down, but you wake up very quickly and you score. You're supposed to play the advantage. They're not supposed to say, no, that score does not count. Can you bring the ball back here so that it is kicked again? So those are rules of the game. Of course, we did not welcome the ruling of the Supreme Court, but we have moved on. And I can tell you, we're campaigning very hard. We're going to campaign very hard. And we're going to win with a bigger margin.
So you're asking for some officials to be kicked out of the team. NASA is also asking for the same, at least in participating in the fresh election. If everybody has their way, some will argue we'll not have a commission at the end of the day, will we?
Precisely. And that's why we said that we need consultation. We need to have NASA there. They can place on the table what it is that they're complaining about. They did allude to the fact that they had insiders who were leaking information to them during the time of the elections. So we're not speculating.
All right. Thank you very much, Secretary General. We appreciate your time. Raphael Tuju, Secretary General, Jubilee Party, Ben. You've heard where the party stands, and they will continue with consultations with the IEBC, however, maintaining that those need to have all parties present, including NASA. Ben.
Party headquarters. Of course, the story that we broke here on KTN News earlier today, a massive pressure at the IEBC, a seeming rift at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. You're watching KTN Prime. Many thanks for staying with us. We take a quick commercial here on the broadcast. When we return, we shall be putting more perspective into this, trying to talk about the technological issues